so good to be back running with a full week of training. The physio seeing me last week, the exercises that he gave, the strength work that he's given me seems to have really helped, and it's good to be back. Unfortunately, it was back on the treadmill rather than outside running for my first run on Monday. Nice and easy 14k, which went smoothly, injury-free, pain-free, and yeah, it just felt really good. And towards the end, I thought, this feels great. This is how running should feel like. I always feel like in this marathon training block, there are far and few runs where you feel like you've done really well. I get it a few on speed sessions, but normally after a run, I'm like, oh, I have to technically run faster than this, my marathon pace, and this feels difficult. But I think that just goes with the sport. Tuesday was a speed session, but it was actually a tempo session. It was 30 minutes at tempo pace. Given that I had last week off training due to the injury, I thought it would be difficult, but again, went well, and made me really think that you don't lose a lot of progress in a week. I was worried that taking, less than a week off, I took 5 days off running, and I thought, that would make me tank and make me lose my training that I've built up. But no, Tuesday proved that it went okay, although the last few minutes were difficult. I always increase my pace as a speed session goes on, or as a tempo session goes on, so that I'm ending on a harder pace than in my parameters. To me, it psychologically helps and makes me feel like I've done better, even though it's only by like a few minutes and a few points per K difference. But yeah, went really well, and I was very pleased. Wednesday, my midweek long run. It was just over 10 miles. We ran a bit over 16k, and finally it was back to outdoor running. My guide was back, he was happy to guide, and you don't realise how much you miss outdoor running until you've done a couple of weeks on the treadmill, from the long runs to the speed sessions. It gets mind-numbing, repetitive, boring. It's just nice to run outside. And have the freedom of the movement, feeling the air on your face, even if it is cold air. And yeah, it just feels more freeing, more exciting. It's nice to have a conversation with someone. Normally when I'm running indoors, I've got a podcast on, and they're interesting, but you're just sort of listening, zoning in and out. It's really nice just to talk to someone. Which sounds really sad. I do talk to people during my normal working day, but just on a run that's an hour and a half long, just under, it's just nice to have someone, and to be outside for it. So it went really well. I feel like all my runs are going well, other than my race where I was injured and it went absolutely terrible. So don't take these going well as anything, because on race day all of that can go out the window. But I think it went really well because I was with someone and I was outside. We reached the halfway point and it felt like we'd only been running for about 10 minutes. So yeah, I wonder if there was something behind it. Like, I always find running in a group, running with people, it's not only more motivating, but it just makes the time go faster. And it's one of those things that I should not take for granted, but I do, because the treadmill used to be my best friend when I couldn't find a guide. It's one of the drawbacks of being a blind runner, to run outside. You always need someone. I say one of the drawbacks, there seem to be many drawbacks. But yes, I am glad it went well, and more than well, it was enjoyable. Do you ever find time just gets away with you? That's what happened on Friday. It's supposed to be a speed session, but I was away for work, and by the time I'd got back, it was nearly 7 in the evening. On Saturdays, I do my long run, and that starts at 7 in the morning. So it's not a lot of recovery time in between. And the speed session is normally 7 to 8K in total. And my Saturday long run was going to be a 20 miler, so about 32K. And so it was tough, just psychologically to get started because I knew I'd be running again basically after eating and going to sleep. But I did it, which was the main thing. It felt difficult because I already didn't want to do it because I'd had a long day at work, travelled a bit, and yeah, just didn't want to do it. So even though physically I was capable, it was one of the times where, again, mentally it just wasn't great. But I did it. Felt tired before and after, and was already anxiously anticipating the long run, which would be in basically a few hours, or what feels like a few hours. And I never know if I should then skip those runs, not the long run, but the speed session, or just grit my teeth and do it. Should probably speak to someone like my coach about that. But yeah, that was Friday. I also felt that because Thursdays is always a rest day, if I didn't do it Friday, it would be 2 rest days. And I wouldn't be able to redo the session on the Sunday after my long run because my legs would be tired. So it's one of those difficult situations. But I did it. So that's the important thing. The Saturday long run. It was 31 and a bit Ks in total, so basically 20 miles. And it was the perfect conditions for running, I would say. We did start very early in the morning, just gone 7, but it was cloudy, warm. Well, I say warm, warmer than it has been the last few times, the last few weeks. And it just felt comfortable running. Though initially, when I started, there was a bit of a hiccup where I thought, oh my God. It was when the watch on my guide's wrist clicked for 1K, and I was like, we've got so long to go. And normally I'm okay with that, but sometimes at the very start of a long run, you just have that moment like, I've just started and I've got so much to do. Does anyone else get that? Or is that just a me thing? And then it's sort of what I find helps is trying to block it off. So it'll be like so many half an hours or so many 5Ks, and that's only, 2.5K plus 2.5K, and sort of breaking it down like that helps. But once I got over that initial stumble, and the good thing about having a guide runner, other than the fact that it allows me to run, is that we can just witter away, chatter away, talk absolute nonsense, and it makes the time go faster and the distance doesn't feel as big. What was interesting about Saturday's long run was we did it as a sandwich with easy pace, 5K at marathon pace, and then easy pace again. And that bit in the middle was more towards the end, doing the 5K at marathon pace. We did it during park run, so it just feels a bit more. I know park run's not a race, but it just feels a bit more race-like conditions, and it went really well. We did it much quicker than marathon pace, which probably isn't a good idea. But even after we did it, we felt great. Saying we, because I'm talking on behalf of my guide and I, as we discussed it after. And so that was really encouraging, really positive. And what made it even better is our local park run course is not the nicest in the way that there are puddles everywhere when it's rained, and the puddles sort of come over my shoes, over my ankles at times, and there are many, many of them, and it's uphill. Because it's a 2-lap loop, 2 bits of severe uphill, and then 2 bits of a gradual incline. So, and it's gravel, and a bit of mud and a bit of woodlands. So in terms of reflecting how it compares to just a normal road race, completely different, and being able to feel comfortable on that just again really made me feel good. And it was one of our run group's birthdays we were celebrating, so I really wanted to do the park run to say hi and happy birthday. and it meant we got brownies. Don't know if brownies is a credible fuel for long run, but I'll take it. And it was good to have something substantial rather than some gels. So that was nice. And Sunday, as always, is a recovery day. So yeah, feeling good. Other than those minor hiccups, my tendons, shin splints, whatever it was, have not flared up again, even when picking up the pace. So yeah, feeling good. It's technically 12 weeks till London today, and yeah, I'm feeling positive, excited, and the weather today is beautiful. And it's one of those days where you really want to run, but it's a recovery day, so no running for me.